Hello there, and welcome to today's webinar on how to coach your employees as a leader in the business world. You see, in today's economy, most workers are knowledge workers, and they are seeking wisdom. They are seeking knowledge. You, as the leader, you are also a teacher. A major part of your job, of your profession, is to teach. And a very small portion of the content of what you be teaching is the actual hard skill of actually how to do the actual job, the tasks, the procedures, the hands-on. The major part, the majority of the content of what you will be teaching are going to be wisdom. Wisdom on life, wisdom on career advancement, understanding of business. All right? So much of what you'll be teaching is understanding of business dynamics, understanding of people dynamics, and understanding and being able to apply your wisdom in understanding people in a business environment. So you create win-win situations for everybody. When I say everybody, I am including outside customers, the business, employees, individual employees, the whole team, and yourself, the leader. Allow me to tell you a quick and short story of how I coached a millennial in a leadership seminar, just to illustrate a lot of the concepts that we'll be addressing today. So on this particular day, I was conducting a leadership seminar, and this is in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, just outside of San Francisco in Northern California. And amongst the students in my seminar room, there were people with up to 40 years of experience, and there were people with less experience. And there was one young millennial, a young lady of millennial age. Well, she might be of millennial age, but there's nothing millennial about her. You see, the thing here is, I have met so many millennials, people of millennial age, yet there are nothing millennial about them. All right? They ask questions, and they ask all the right questions. And they won't take BS for answer because they are really thinking. And they have radar detector for BS, so you can't BS them. And I am kind of sick and tired of a lot of the older generation leaders who will throw up their hands in the air and say, oh, I give up. There's nothing but millennials out there, and there's nothing I can do about it. No, sir, I'm sorry. You hired the wrong person. There are plenty millennials out there of millennial age, and there's nothing millennial about them. And when I run into this, what I call the high-quality, good millennials, I joke with them. I tell them, what sort of a millennial are you? There's nothing millennial about you. So you know what? As far as being a millennial is concerned, you're fired. Go home and tell your mom and dad they failed at producing a millennial out of you. They giggle, they laugh, and they tease each other. And I had a 26-year-old tell a 22-year-old, hey, dude, that was the best compliment you have ever got. So not every millennial is like that, all right? Maybe I should have a webinar, a class on how to hire the right millennials, how to identify and filter out the wrong kind of millennials that you shouldn't be hiring. But anyway, back to the story, back to the particular young lady. So as the day progresses, as I was teaching, as the discussion was going on, and the seasoned managers would nod and would be in agreement. Oh, don't do that. I made that mistake 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And some of the less seasoned managers, wow, really? You okay, then I write it down. I make sure I don't do that. But this young millennial, great participation, right? She's really following, she's paying attention, she's thinking. And then she would say something maybe every half an hour. But quite often, she would say things like, no, I don't think so. I disagree. If I start having my own business, which she intend to, good on her, and I'm going to do exactly whatever we were just saying not to do. And then she would go on and say, because at a previous job that she has had with a Silicon Valley tech startup, they did exactly what we were saying not to do, right? She said, because they did just that. And so if I start my own business, I'm going to do the same thing. So she would say something every half an hour, right? She's participating, but to the attendees with 10, 20, 30, 40 years experience, this is becoming just an interruption, just disruptive. So they started looking at me, and their eyes basically says, CoachMichaelLin, can you do something about this? This is wasting our time. So I understood the telegram, the message from their eye contact. So I realized I better put on my coaching hat, go into town, and sort this out right here, right now. Otherwise, it's not good. So I said to her, I said, my very first job here in America, after moving here from Australia, was also with a Silicon Valley tech startup. It was 20 years ago, okay, in 1999. Back then, we called it a dot-com bubble. Some of you may remember those good old days. And I worked for one of those tech startups, okay? And that tech startup also did not work out. And so I was out of a job. I cherish my time there. I have no regret whatsoever. Why? Because over a very short period of time, a mere 6 months, I learned so much. I learned so much in what not to do. I learned how not to design a software, how not to write a software, who not to hire to come here and write softwares, how to build a team, how not to build an IT team, how not to build servers, how not to build server farm, who not to promote, who should be fired, how not to hire people, what's not a product, what's not a customer, how to deal with outside investors, and so on and so forth. All right, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And it's been 20 years. I'm still benefiting from that education because in my own business, every time I have trouble making up my mind on what to do, I just look back at that company and think, how did they do it? Whatever they did, I just do the opposite. It's been 20 years and I'm still benefiting from that 6-month experience. And how much was my student loan? Not only I didn't have to pay a tuition fee, I got paid big, fat Silicon Valley salary to learn those valuable lessons. Okay, I cherish my time there. So now regarding you and then the position you had with the previous company, you see, Silicon Valley tech startups, okay, 99.99999% of them don't work out. Okay, there's a reason why they don't work out. Take the company that you work for example, that's no longer with us. There's a reason why they are not with us. The reason is because everything they did it, and I stopped. I just did this, okay? I wanted her to come on and say it, and she did. She just said, "Go wrong." Yes. You see, with things like this, quite often you don't want to come on and say it. You want them to come on and say it. Why? Because people will never go against their own ideas. That's just human nature. You might want to write this down. People will never go against their own ideas. So I want to say, you see, cherish your time there. Okay? Whatever they did, okay, you should copy, but don't paste. You should copy and then flip and then paste. You're smart. You figure this out, right? Copy, flip, and then paste. She was like, "Oh, Coach MichaelLin, that's the biggest piece of wisdom I learned this year. I need you to be my personal coach, okay? And I need to get coaching from you for my advancement, for my progression. And for the rest of this webinar, I'm going to give you 6 secrets to how to coach your employees. And if we have time, I might even give you a bonus secret. And you're not going to get this 6 + 1 bonus secrets from any of the mainstream training courses or mainstream training companies. All right. So secret number 1, coaching your employees in a business environment is not to be confused with life coaching. Coaching your employees in a business environment is more similar to coaching in the sports sense. All right. So let's take a look at coaching in sports. In sports, right, the coach, he knows all about this particular sport. He might be old and fat now, but 20 years ago, he was fit and skinny, and he used to play this particular sport. He knows everything about this particular sport, from the technique to the gaming theory to the business to the money, everything. And while the coach is working on the athlete, right, he would help the athlete with from fitness to diet to schedule what time to get out of bed, okay, to the actual technique of actually playing this sport, or whatever, with this ball or this stick, or run or swim or what have you. And he will be helping the athlete with gaming, be it a team or individual sport, and basically every single aspect of the activity of that sport, and also the business aspect, the money aspect of the sport. And the coach will also be holding the athlete accountable. All right. And quite often the coach is hiring and firing the athletes, right? You heard of whatever team league drafts. In a way, the athlete is kind of like an employee of the coach. And the coach has firing and termination authority over the athlete. And the athlete, his income depends on him being evaluated nicely by the coach. So that's coaching in sport. And then the coach hold the athlete accountable. And then the coach cherry picks which athlete he is going to coach. He doesn't go coach anyone, right? And the most successful sports coaches in America, I think the number one thing they do is they will pick the right athletes. You give them a bunch of athletes who have passion for beer and pizza and sitting on the couch and watching TV and absolutely refuse to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the field and practice. And then their passion is just to sit there and complain how hard it is. Do you think even the best coach can help that individual to win an Olympic gold medal, 100-meter sprint? Not a chance, right? So the coach, their number one concern in the whole business is to select the right athletes who has the right attitudes. Same thing with your employees hiring people. Now, in life coaching, which is a fad in Southern California, right? It's nothing like that. In life coaching, the coach openly claims, no, I don't know anything about the thing you asked me to coach you. And I don't need to know anything about the thing you asked me to coach you. What I know is coaching. And I'll just consistently asking you a set of questions like, what do you think? What have you done? What have you tried? What do you think? What have you done? What have you tried? And the coach does not hold the athlete accountable, all right? And the coach is not paying the athlete, the coaching client. There's a reason in life coaching, they call their coaching subjects the client. Why? Because they're paying the coach. It's a customer, all right? So do you think the coach is interested in deliver speedy, quick result? Or do you think the coach might be interested in dragging this thing for as long as possible? Tell the truth, all right? People hire life coaches. They don't hire life coaches to improve. They hire life coaches to hear what they want to hear. They are paying someone to hear them say, it's so hard. Life is so hard. Why is it that's so unfair? Why do I have to get up in the morning, fight traffic, and go to work just to earn a living? Life is so hard. Nobody understands how I feel. The only person who understands how I feel is my life coach. I'm paying him $500 an hour just to hear me complaining about life. People don't hire a life coach to improve. People hire a life coach to reinforce their existing thinking so they can stay inside of their comfort zone and build walls around their comfort zone, and they're too scared to come out. And the job of the life coach is to constantly reinforce the four walls of the comfort zone so the client stay inside. Imagine if the client actually improved and came out. They wouldn't need to pay the life coach anymore, would they? So life coaching, right, in a nutshell, is essentially paying someone $500 an hour to be my friend, just to hear my whinging, whining, and complaining. People don't hire a life coach in order to improve. So, in conclusion, all right, you are not a life coach. You are a sports coach when it comes to coaching your employees. And you got to hold your employees, your athletes accountable, all right? You want to see them improve. That's the purpose of your coaching. You're not a life coach to drag this process long on and on and on and on for a fee. Right? Is your employees paying you, or are you paying your employees? Coaching secret number 2. Coaching is quite often, but should not be confused with disciplinary action. You see, coaching will only work, right, on those who are seeking coaching. Let's go back to the sports analogy for a second. A coach in sports, right, be it the worst coach or the best coach in America in sports, their coaching effort will only work on athletes who want to play the game, who is passionate about playing the game. It will not work on an individual whose passion is drinking beer, eating potato chips, sitting on the sofa, and watch other people playing sports on TV. That individual cannot be coached in how to play that game successfully and then win competition. All right? Let's just get that clear. So many leaders, so many managers get confused between disciplinary action and coaching. They are not the same thing. So if you have an employee whose behavior, let's just say has room for improvement, right? So you point that out, be it casually at a casual conversation or on the job, or you put them into your office and point that out. I can coach you on what's the best scenario to point those things out. What are the consequences of doing it either casually or formally? But anyway, so let's say you point that out for the first time, and you want to gauge their response very carefully. The response that's good is the employee would go, "Oh, I'm sorry, boss. This is so embarrassing. I didn't know. I had no idea whatever I was doing was bad. Please help me. What is it that I don't know? Thank you for pointing this out to me." That's a good employee that can be coached, especially if they say, "Please coach me." So the two things you're looking for is, "Oh, I'm sorry," and they're genuinely sorry. They're genuinely embarrassed. And then they go, "Please teach me. What is it that I don't know? There must be something that's in my blind spot that I don't know." All right. Now, contrary to that, if an employee, their response is, in denial, argue back, weasel. All right, okay, this is bad news. All right, this employee is not interested in learning, in improving. And this employee is telling you, please put me on the disciplinary action track and put me on the 3 strikes, you are out direction. They're just telling me loud and clear that's where they are headed. Okay? And so when you need to conduct disciplinary actions, you just conduct disciplinary actions. They are not seeking coaching. Therefore, you shouldn't be giving them coaching. And trying to coach someone who doesn't want to learn, trying to teach someone who doesn't want to learn, is futile. It's worse than futile. You might as well just bang your head against the concrete cinder block wall, right, until you start bleeding. Don't attempt to coach anyone who has told you loud and clear, I am not seeking coaching. I'm not asking. I don't want to learn. I don't want to improve. So in conclusion, secret number 2 is you don't want to confuse coaching with disciplinary action. Those are 2 separate things. All right. And when you conduct disciplinary action, just focus on their behavior. So you did this and that and the other Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and these are not acceptable. I'm documenting you, and HR is right here present at this meeting. That's a disciplinary action. That's for folks who refuse to accept coaching. Coaching secret number 3, timing. There is the worst and there's also the best time for effective coaching. Say, for example, okay, an employee is just about to make a mistake. And then by making this mistake, it will not cost the employee getting his hand chopped off, or the nurse killing a patient, or we're building a building that's crooked, all right, or we wire up 240 volts incorrectly and killing someone, or getting the company sued. If the mistake is going to cost the company $2 or the employee 20 minutes of his time, or even while he's on the company clock, all right, stand there and watch and let the employee go ahead and make that mistake. Because quite often in life, making that mistake and then the pain associated as a result of making that mistake is the most efficient method for someone to learn, right? No pain, no desire to learn. You might want to write that down. So let's say somebody just got delegated a task and he is so happy he got the task. He is going about doing it his way, not knowing what he's doing, and he's about to make a mistake. Now you just jump in there constantly. No, don't do that. How is that going to make him feel? He's going to feel that you, a condescending SOB, right? You're ruining his fun. So quite often, if the mistake is not going to result in something really, really bad, like the employee getting his hand chopped off, a nurse giving the wrong medicine to a patient, if it's going to be a $2 mistake, let the employee go ahead and make that mistake. So stage 1 is when the employee is making mistakes, but not realizing that a mistake because there's no pain. Stage 2 is when they realize they have a pain. All right. They have a pain. They're feeling some kind of a pain. And stage 3 is when they started thinking, whose fault is this? And usually, okay, thanks to human nature, right, people don't look in the mirror. People usually, quite often, especially people with, let's say, not yet acquired enough wisdom and experience in life, their natural response is, who is to blame for this? This is the machine, this is my boss, this is the system, this is my wife, my dog, my car, my mechanic, the politicians, the whatever. It's everybody, anybody, everybody else except me. And people play this blame game, and the less experience and hence wisdom they have with life, the more likely they would engage in playing this game. You might have to wait, let them play this game out. And the next stage, stage 4, is when they realize, oh, I am the cause of the problem. And I need to go out there and find solutions. Are there any solutions out there? Okay, it is my responsibility. This is a major, major leap forward. And one of the essential wisdoms in life is the following. That is, no matter what happens, right, it's not about whose fault this is, but everything is my responsibility. Let's say I'm traveling to go to another city and I need to change flight and to go to another city to teach a seminar. And then someone stole my wallet. All right. Whose fault is it? It's the pickpocket, right? He stole my wallet. Did I steal my own wallet? No, I did not. My wallet was stolen by the pickpocket. So it's not my fault, is it? But whose responsibility is it to get on the next plane, to reach my destination, to teach the seminar that's been scheduled? There's going to be lots and lots of people, hundreds and hundreds of people waiting for me to come and teach them. So whose responsibility is it? It's mine, right? I have never ever seen anyone who sit there at the airport. Well, I'm supposed to catch the next flight, but they stole my wallet, so I don't have my ID. I'm just going to sit here, wait for the police to bring my wallet back. Until then, right, I'm not responsible. Anyone with such a attitude or such a unhelpful philosophy, they will not go far in life. You know those people who are always stuck? Highly likely this is how they think. They're always looking for somebody else is responsible, right? They themselves, it's the last person they'll be thinking, I am responsible for this. They always think, whose fault is it? Okay, so it is the fault of my boss. My boss didn't schedule this right. Therefore, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to sit here. Not a very helpful way to think, and not a very helpful philosophy for you to get ahead in life. This brings us to stage number 5. And they've been looking for solutions to solve their problems because they realize it's their own responsibility to go on there, find solutions to solve their problems. And then so they've been thinking, they've been looking, and then they found a whole bunch of solutions. And they're thinking, they're evaluating all these solutions. Which solution is the most effective, efficient method to help me to solve my problems, my pain? And this leads us to stage number 6. This is when they have this profound revelation. And they say to themselves, oh, of all the solutions out there I've been looking at, I think coaching from my boss is the most effective. Because think about it. My boss has been here for 10, 20, 30 years longer than I have. My boss has been watching me. All right. Whatever mistake I made, he has probably already made those mistakes. And besides, if I don't improve, he suffers. If I improve, he enjoys the benefit of my increased productivity. Everybody benefits. So I'm going to go to my boss and say, hey, boss, sorry to bother you. It's really embarrassing. I'm number 10 on this team of 10 for the 3rd time, January, February, March. And I don't like it. And this is humiliating, embarrassing. And I'm not a goof off, right? I work hard. I study. I ask questions. There must be still something I don't yet know. That's in my blind spot. So what is it that I don't yet know? Would you please help me? I know you're busy, but please help me. And I really, really could use someone to give me some pointers. Would you please help me? All right. And you've been watching me. You have the wisdom. So help me, please. This is the best time to coach someone. They are ready. All right. You know what they say? You can lead a horse to the river. You can't make the horse drink. Right? As they say in martial arts, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Okay? If you want to be efficient with your coaching, the best time for coaching to be the most efficient is when the student is in so much pain and he's desperately coming to you, wanting to pick your brain and get the wisdom out of your head. That's the best time for coaching to be the most efficient. And this brings us to coaching secret number 4. Which is you must let them talk first. If you are going to conduct, let's say, a 1-hour coaching session, all right, you probably need to let them talk for the first 20 minutes, if not the first 30 minutes. And there are 3 very important reasons why you must do that. Reason number 1, they need to blow off steam. When they are full of frustration, full of anger, right, there's no room in there to accept any new information. The frustration, the anger, the steam, they all need to come out first. And they need to come out at you, the teacher. This brings us to reason number 2. That is, people will not want to hear what you have to say, your solution to solve their problems. They will not want to hear your solution if you somehow, either intentionally or accidentally, you made them feel you don't care how they feel. You don't feel how they feel. You don't care to feel how they feel. You know they're in pain, but you don't care, right? There's enough teaching about sympathy and empathy, all right? I'm sure you understand that concept. If you made them feel, either intentionally or unintentionally, that you don't care about their pain and their suffering, they will not want to hear your solutions. However, all right, on the other hand, people automatically assume you have the solution to solve their problems. If you somehow, either intentionally or accidentally, made them feel you feel their pain, you understand their pain, okay, then they will assume that you have a solution to their problems. let's take infomercial, for example, okay? I'm sure many of you have already developed a good habit, cut the cable, stop watching TV. But I know some of you are still watching TV, and even for those of you who have already cut the cord, stopped watching TV, you have watched TV before. You have seen commercials before. You have seen infomercials before, right? Half an hour infomercial, 1 hour infomercial. How do they start? They always start with, we understand your pain. Don't you hate it? Your knife is not sharp enough. Don't you hate it? Your vacuum cleaner doesn't suck. Don't you hate it? Your mattress is too firm, too soft, too whatever, right? And then they would have people acting out the pain, and they would turn those footages into black and white just to show the pain and the suffering, right? And then they would introduce the new knife. This knife is sharp. Or they would introduce a new vacuum cleaner with wonderful suction power. Or they would introduce this new mattress that you can adjust the firmness, different sections of the bed, different nights, and different left and right of the bed, and so on and so forth, right? So this is going to be $19.99 a month for the next 3 years, plus shipping and handling. And one of the most amazing utilization of this technique was one of these infomercials that I saw. He started with a guy with gray hair and a white coat, and then he started saying, I am not only a back pain doctor, I'm also a back pain patient myself. Ooh, he got my attention, even though I have no back pain, but I want to hear what he has to say, right? That's a wonderful application of the principle of understanding, of making your coaching recipients, your employees understand or feel that you understand and you feel their frustration, their pain. And otherwise, they don't want to hear what you have to say. You're just a condescending SOB. And this brings us to benefit number 3 of letting them talk, because you don't know what's holding them back, right? Let's say, for example, okay, going left is the correct method, but the employee's been going right, and he thought going right is the correct method. It's not coaching. That's just, it's not coaching just to tell the employee just to go left. That's not coaching. That's just being a dictator. Coaching is to figure out why the employee thought going right was the right solution, and figure out what's the unhelpful thinking that's causing the employee to go right, and then replace that unhelpful thinking with a new, more helpful way of thinking, a new understanding of something, a broader understanding of something, an understanding at a higher level. Therefore, the employee will have a good reasons to want to go left, as opposed to, my boss is a dictator, SOB, and he ordered me to go left, and I don't know why, and he can't be bothered to tell me. And usually, employees, they don't know which piece of unhelpful thinking that's buried deep in the subconscious mind of their mind that's causing them to want to go right. So what they won't be able to tell you a lot of the times. You gotta let them talk, and you're fishing for information like James Bond. All right. And then you will hear, you let them talk, and then you will hear, they will say it, and then you go, oh, I got it. That's why this employee thought the correct solution is to go right. That's that piece of thinking that's holding this employee back. That's unhelpful. And I need to replace this unhelpful piece of thinking with a correct thinking. Oh, and you're going to feel like, oh, he obtained that piece of thinking from good old days, from a long time ago, when that thinking was correct. The time has changed. And he doesn't know it. He's still holding on to old information that was correct in a different world, a different time, a different place. He didn't know that. It's up to me to help him to realize, oh, that information was correct a long time ago in a different place. But now the environment has changed. Therefore, that way of thinking is no longer applicable in this situation. That's your job. That's the third reason why you want them to talk. All right. And this brings us to the next secret, coaching secret. Coaching secret number 5. If you want to coach for behavior change, right? You want to coach for result. You want to see result. If you want to coach for behavior change, you need, as the coach, as the leader, you need to go much deeper than just the behavior. Allow me to illustrate, all right? I have never ever seen a medical doctor. The patient comes in, oh, doctor, I'm coughing on blood. And the doctor says, you're coughing on blood? Well, change your behavior. Stop coughing. That's it. Problem solved. Pay me. Get out. Go home. Is that practicing medicine? Good, sound medicine based on science? No, right? That's BS. A good medical doctor, they understand in order to change the patient's behavior, which is coughing up blood, the doctor needs to do something inside the patient's body, right? And he needs to figure out, why is the patient coughing up blood? What is wrong? What is not normal? What is the pathogen inside the body? He needs to figure out what's the cause, what's the triggering event, and then he can prescribe medicine, treatment, right? I have never ever seen a car mechanic. You take your car to the mechanic on a tow truck, right? Say, my car wouldn't start. I've never seen the mechanic say to the car, hey, listen, car, you're brand new. You're only 6 months old. Your owner is paying you $400 a month plus 100 a month on insurance. And it's only fair if you get started. All right? So you need to get started, change your behavior. No mechanic will talk and think like that. A good mechanic, he knows his job is to diagnose, is to figure out why the car wouldn't get started. For starters, is the battery out of juice? If the battery is out of juice, can we charge up the battery? Is the battery dead? If the battery is dead, can we put in the replacement battery that's healthy and full of juice, right? Is the starter motor working, right? Is the starter motor functional, or has it died because of old age? Are there any gasoline in the vehicle, right? Do we have any spark plugs? Did somebody steal all your spark plugs? So on and so forth, right? The mechanic needs to figure out what is the root cause why your car wouldn't get started. And then when he figures out what is the root cause, he is going to repair it and replace it. All make sense? Now, let's say you're driving, in winter in Nebraska, and it has just snowed, and then it turned into ice. And you're on a hilly street, you're going downhill, and your car is sliding out of control. Okay? Can you change the car's behavior by telling the car, hey, car, you need to change your behavior. You need to stop sliding. You think that will cause the car to stop sliding? No. The car will stop sliding when it hits something. Laws of physics. Now, back to humans, back to employees, okay? People's behavior is a result of their feelings. And their feelings are a result of their thinking and their understanding. People's behavior is a result of their feelings. And their feelings is a result of their understanding. Take the millennial story at the beginning of this webinar, for example. Okay? Her behavior was copying and pasting everything that she observed at her previous place of employment, the tech startup. Why do you think that was her behavior? Because of her feelings. And her feeling was she had so much pride and youthful passion with that one company that's unfortunately no longer with us. I am pretty sure pretty much everybody who were at that company, they were thinking, we're going to be the next Google. We're going to be the next Facebook. All right. We're going to take over the world. Worldwide domination. We're going to be. And then that didn't happen. But their feeling, their passion stayed with them, even though the company is long gone. So her behavior of copying and pasting, whatever that company did, was caused by her feeling. And her feeling was caused by her thinking, which is, this is going to be world domination, another world domination. Now, imagine if I just go in there, okay? Imagine instead of doing what I did, I'll take an opposite approach. I'll go, listen, young lady, why don't you shut the bleep up? What do you know? Huh? I've traveled more bridges than you have traveled roads, all right? So shut the bleep up and listen, and you might learn something. You think that's going to be an effective, helpful coaching strategy? No. If I say something like that to her, she's going to be like, you condescending son of a... I don't want to hear anything you have to say, right? So instead, how did I coach her? I started by telling her a story, my own story of how I also worked for a tech startup. And that tech startup also did not work out, and how I benefited from that tech startup. And she can do the same. Why did I tell her that story? The purpose of that story was to make her feel that I understand her pain. I had the same experience. I have experienced the same exact experience working for a tech startup and having not worked out for me and losing my employment after less than 1 year. So we built connection, right? And I even told her that, as a matter of fact, that tech startup was right here. The day of the seminar was in South San Francisco. And I used to live there. I told her, look, as a matter of fact, I used to live right here in South San Francisco. And the office was in San Mateo. As a matter of fact, I was so naive. I was so new to America. I didn't even know it was San Mateo. I would pronounce it English as in San Mateo. Until the call train conductor corrected me. Oh, you mean you want to get off at San Mateo? I'm like, why is it San Mateo? So anyway, so that's how I built the connection, how I got her to feel that I feel her pain and her frustration because I had the same experience. All right. And then I'd explain to her, this to replace her thinking. All right. Instead of copying and pasting, okay, you see, there's a reason why 99.999% of tech startups don't work out, because everything they did it wrong. And remember, I didn't come out and say wrong. I paused. Everything they did it. And I wanted her to come out and say wrong. Because people will never go against their own ideas. And I know, right, in the back of her head, there's part of her, she had all this pride in that company. She wants to be just like that company. But part of her, there's the pride. But the other part of her, in the back of her head, she has long suspected the reason they failed is because they were not the smartest cookies in Silicon Valley. They did many, many things that was, from a business perspective, not the smartest thing. I was pretty sure that she suspects that. I just gave her the environment, the comfort, loving, learning, collaborative, cooperative environment, gave her the comfort, and then gave her the courage to come out and say, wrong. And once she said it, right, I got her to 10 around. Big time. Big time. And then I accelerated. I put in the positive vibe in her by saying, you're smart. You figure this out. Okay. Instead of copy and paste, okay, you copy, you flip, and then you paste. She was like, So notice, right, you cannot attack their feelings. All right. You got to figure out what's the belief that's holding them back, and you got to work on that belief and turn that belief around. Once you turn that belief around 180 degrees, their feeling will also change 180 degrees, and then their behavior will also change 180 degrees. So she had the pride, all right, the pride in that company. I can't attack her pride. If I attack her pride, she would just resist me, and she would never, ever want to hear anything I have to say for as long as she lives. So I utilized her pride, but I switched her pride from pride in that company, in being part of the company, to pride in herself, in having wisdom in herself, right? And rather than feeling humiliated, I worked for a company that failed. Now she feels smart. She feels pride. I'm going to learn everything there is to learn from whatever that company did. I'm going to do the opposite from now on, right? So to recap, you want to change their behavior, you got to change their feeling. But in order to change their feeling, you got to change their thinking. But in order to change their thinking, you got to know what their thinking is, the unhelpful thinking that's holding them back. And then you got to explain that thinking away, replace the old unhelpful thinking with new helpful thinking. Once you turn the thinking 180 degrees around, you're going to turn their feeling 180 degrees around, and you're going to change their behavior. Their behavior will change by themselves. You don't have to change their behavior. And this brings us to coaching secret number 6. The absolute necessity to use storytelling as an effective coaching method. If you think about it, throughout human history, all the effective teachers, all the influential leaders, they all used storytelling. They all used storytelling as an effective teaching and leadership tool. And also, students and employees, people love to learn through storytelling. Why do you think that is? Well, I summed it down to 3 typical reasons. Reason number 1, if you're just lecturing down on people with abstract concepts, people will sit there and go, this is too abstract. I cannot relate to this. Or worse still, they might even feel, why are you standing on your soapbox, your high horse, and lecturing down on us, you condescending SOB? Who gave you the right to be so condescending? And your coaching will just go in this year, out that year. Or they might twin you out, or they will just resent you. And reason number 2 is people love hearing stories. When you start telling a story, people go, oh, story time. I'm a kid all over again. This can be 80-year-old grandma, grandpa. They love hearing a story. Okay? Humans love stories, loves hearing stories. So they don't feel like you're being condescending, you're lecturing down on them. This is too abstract. I can't relate to them. Oh, just a story. Thinking back, all this year you're going to school, every good teacher used stories, right? We all heard the story about the turtle and the rabbit, one for a race, right? And when we learn math, the teacher will say 1 + 1 = 2. Kids go, what? No comprendo. And the teacher will say, okay, Johnny has an apple, Sarah has an apple. Altogether, we have 2 apples. The kids will go, yep, we got it. So that's the second reason why storytelling is good. You just go under the radar. You just ease into it, under the radar, into people's minds. And then beauty number 3 of why storytelling is effective is as people just follow the story, they follow the motif, they will self-identify with the characters in the story. They will self-identify with the storyline, the plot, the motif. And the learning will come to them. People will just realize the educational point. Not all the time, not every time, not on everybody, but on a lot of people a lot of the times. This is why you need to have multiple stories for the same educational point. This is quite often people will tell 3 different stories for the same educational point to deliver the same message. Why 3 different stories? Because different people may understand the metaphor differently because people have different life experiences. But wait, there's one more thing. Those good teachers, those effective leaders, they always use their own story as the story. And they always want to use their own failure to success stories as their story. Their own personal failure to success stories. For example, hey, Nathan, you just made a mistake I myself used to make 20 years ago when I first started doing this job. You see, that's so much easier on the ear to the employee than, Nathan, you stupid son of a... Let's look at the time. Do we have the time today? Yep, I think we have the time today to talk about the bonus secret. The bonus secret in terms of coaching is not only you need to coach your employees, not only you need to develop your coaching skills to coach your employees, not only you need to use storytelling, your personal failure to success stories as coaching examples to coach your employees, you need to encourage your best performers to coach other members on the team. You need to coach your best performers on effective coaching methods. And you need to coach and encourage your best performers on how to use storytelling to coach other team members. And you want to coach them, to tell them to use their personal failure to success stories to coach other team members. Imagine the following two different scenarios. All right. Scenario number one. Every day, your best performer comes to work, and his attitude is, I am so good. All right. You people are all morons. Get out of my way. Look at me. As opposed to scenario number two. Your best performer comes to work, and his attitude is, hey, I'm good today, but you should have seen me 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago. Right? I wasn't always this good. And I don't mind sharing what I learned through blood and sweat over the years, because I want everybody to win. And when you screw up, I suffer too. So I want to share my knowledge, share my wisdom, and my technical skills. And look, you've only been here for a week, and sure, you made 2 mistakes, but I was still making those mistakes on my not on my first week. I've been here for a year. I was still making those mistakes, and you figured something out on your third day. I didn't figure that thing out on my third year. So don't feel too bad about you struggling for the time being, right? I struggled too, and it's going to take some time, and I'm only too happy to share what I know and through my blood and sweat. I want everybody to learn. See, that's a much more productive attitude to build a healthy culture amongst your team. I am sure you enjoyed a little class, a little webinar, little seminar here together today, and I'm sure many of you are thinking, how can I bring this kind of seminar, this kind of coaching into my organization? I would like to get this kind of coaching, this kind of training for myself or my employees. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So this way, when I release new educational videos, you will be notified and you will be the first to learn. And also, make sure you send this video to as many people as possible so we can all learn and grow together and help each other to grow together. We're in this together. And if you need private coaching, business consulting, or training, feel free to contact me, and my contact details are linked below.